Welcome, Michael Wickerson here at Wickerson Studios on OBS Live, trying to demonstrate the power of working with hops, working with pandas, working with Python 3.0, and trying to get into the data scientist in everybody. So what I've done is chosen a model because I really think Grasshopper is going to help me and my friend Sergi Espinales play around with uh, what's the purpose of all this? Like, what can we do with it? And certainly, we have our eyes on Kaggle, and I know a lot of people do all their data cleaning up, and all the incredible data scientists use Grasshopper, Jupyter notebooks and things like that. I'm not really doing that. I'm jumping in, just reading files through a program that I can have the assistance of ChatGPT, but I can also just read basic files and CSV files. And I'm choosing this very simple example that's the files are allowed through Python for Data Science for Dummies. But once you get that up and you're able to operate through wrapping that into hops nodes, this is an app that I'll have on pretty soon as I process this book. I jump around quite a bit, but I have decided that all work done in coding in Python and C Sharp, and whether it's Grasshopper 2.0 or Grasshopper 1.0, you really just want to output things like integers, floats, strings, and that's exactly what this does. It reads very quickly with a very small script whether a passenger is in first, second, or third class, and whether they survived or died. And with the very simple text nodes here, you can find a way to edit and clean your data and push things through integers and clean up nulls and do all that stuff that you normally would do as a data scientist within Jupyter notebooks. But since I like Grasshopper, I'm just going to do it in this way. Keep my numbers, go through my shortest lists, have a little bit of fun with this, and map out basically the Titanic. Now, this is not the shape of the Titanic. it is it is rectangular. I'm going to close my solver and I'm going to say, well, what if I had it and it was a much longer boat, represented as a rectangle? So as I unlock the solver, you see we got a very long boat. And if I wanted a more square boat, then I'm just playing with numbers to use a quick divide and just to visualize things. Like I don't have to do things perfectly. I'm going to pull this one up around 57 and unlock the solver. And we should have a pretty square grid. And what I've chosen through simple meshes is just to use, you couldn't get much simpler Python scripts than these. Just checking if the data comes out as true or false, calling my data, cleaning it up through text edits, calling patterns through, I'll give you an example of the script here. It's nothing if x is equal to 2, then a is set to 1, or else a is 0. So basically if it's true or false. There are nodes that get close to this, but you couldn't get simpler coding in your life. And what I'm able to do is pull out a mesh that is basically the first class citizens on that boat, wherever they might have been situated. Obviously, it's not the boat, but what do I care about the shape of the Titanic? It's all crashed and at the bottom of the ocean. Then I have my objects of my second class citizens, where they would be, and my third class citizens. And then what I did was I overrode all those by simple culling and editing everybody who died. So no matter what the shape of the ship, I can put the position in to see now, why you would do this, I have no idea, but I think data science is about telling a good story, figuring out the answers to things, and as I pull it off, you'll see that I have a pretty good representation of first, second, and third class characters, and who survived and who died, depending on where they were on that ship. Now, for whatever the reasons, I could build different, more complex models, but I think this is a great example of jumping in using simple Visual Studio Code and the hops plugin, which is running off of this server, and it's transforming the boring data of what the Titanic CSV file looked like, taking this data in this form and generating a much more interesting model of how I could visualize what has happened. So it's not a matplot library, it's not a bar graph, it's not some, but it is using the simple power of small geometries. And I will say it again, I think the real purpose of working with people to find what you want to do, there's infinite ways Grasshopper can develop, and for those like Peter Davis and Sergi Espinales and the ones I'm working with, I think it's pretty endless where we're going to go as to driving models that inform us and give us information and work with a wide variety of clients and companies and people that want us to creatively contemplate casually any of the things they might want to do. So once again, Michael at Wickerson Studios, reach out and ask me any questions if you have. It's pretty fun, and I'm just building this kind of pandas, going through the book and trying to build some simple examples that make Grasshopper fun. Thanks again for watching. I will stop streaming and I will stop recording.